getting the kids back in a swing of school after the holidays, and that can be tough, but not impossible. Yay! Joining us this morning with some tips on how to get your kids focused and motivated for a successful rest of the school year is founder of Ruth Rumack's Learning Space, Ruth Rumack. Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, I'm good, and this is incredibly timely because we've got a couple days under our belts. But, we're having these discussions at home. It is a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
And I think we adults can kind of go through this process as well. So how do we start with the setup for success for the kids? It has a little bit to do with just kind of cleaning up.
Housekeeping.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So we notice that when we go back to work or we go back to school, we want to have things more calm, easy to access. We want to start out with a good binder cleanup. I may have pulled this from a friend of mine. And we can see we need to dump everything out. We need to reorganize it. We need to reset for the next semester or term. And we also want to make sure we have all of the supplies at hand. So we've got, my favorite is having a good hole puncher.
Oh, that's so key.
Right? And a good stapler with staples. Don't forget the with staples. And then all of the other things. I keep my things in a caddy.
It's like you're in my junk drawer. I have either staples or a stapler.
But not two at the same time.
Together. Yeah,
exactly.
And they don't work without the other.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to have a caddy that you can move around the house depending on where you're doing your homework or your work.
Yeah, because homework can move around. That is much more common these days. I love that caddy. That's really good. Okay, so after we've gone through and kind of tossed what we don't need, another suggestion to take stock of last semester.
Yes.
And you have a bit of an acronym for that.
Let's look back. So I look at the SEAL acronym, which starts with the situation. Let's say we had a student last semester who didn't plan well enough for an exam or a test or a project. That's the situation. The effects, the E stands for effects. What would you feel from that? So that student that didn't meet their expectations or didn't do as well as they thought they might or should, we may be feeling shame, maybe feeling guilt, maybe feeling avoidance, maybe feeling a lot of big emotions, right? And as we move into the new term, we want to make sure that we look back at that. What action, that's the A in SEAL, what action did they take in order to get them to where they wanted to be, or what action didn't they take which prevented them from getting to where they wanted to be?
Smart.
So we want to look at things like, did they spend enough time studying? Did they use active study strategies? Did they review the outline or talk to a teacher if they had questions? So we want to look at those things. If those things weren't done, then we want to reflect on that in how could we do things differently next time.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important as a parent not to point a finger, not to say, I told you so, I told you to study longer, because of course that doesn't help. We want that student to come to those realizations and reflections on their own with some guidance.
Yeah, that's smart. And to be able just to talk that out and really give this time to just air it out.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes we do, as parents, think like, well, I did tell you, and you didn't know.
Yeah,
and you can kind of leave all of that and just have a bit of a gimme week.
Yes.
And then get into it. Okay, let's talk goal setting in this last minute together.
So SMART goals, that's always my go-to. We want to make sure that they are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then timely. You want to put a timeline on it so you know where you're going and how you're going to get there.
Smart. We can learn from that too. Literally, smart. And then we're talking to teachers when, because sometimes that is a part of the process.
Yeah, now, right away.
Oh, okay.
If there has been an issue, any issue, or if something has happened over the holidays that you want to communicate with the teacher going forward that might impact what's going on in the next semester, we want to do it now. The wait and see approach, in my opinion, at this point in the year is too late.
Okay.
We have to take action, and sometimes that means looking at outside support. I mean, at Ruth Rumack's Learning Space, that's what we do all day long, and we make sure that we are communicating both with the school, with the family, and with any other outside support.
Yeah, it's a good trio right there. Ruth Rumack, you are full of great info. Thank you so much for being here on Breakfast Television. And your website again?
RuthRumack.com.
Beautiful. More BT coming up right after this.